Wow! It's 2 minutes to late night! All right, what's up, kitty litter hot pockets? Welcome to Pod Minutes to Cast Night. It's the 2 minutes to late night podcast where we listen to albums that most people don't like, and we try to find something nice about them. You're here with most of the 2 minutes to late night writers room.
Hi, it's me, America's sweetheart, Katie Rose Leon. Welcome to my home. I have fresh baked cookies and booze here. I did not put on pants though. Thank you.
Hey, what's up? This is Drew Kaufman, and I went for a hike yesterday, but I didn't talk about it on social media. So did I really go for a hike?
No, you didn't.
No.
Yeah. Does podcast count?
You need a selfie by the canyon.
And I'm Kat Jones, and I'm not part of the writer's room, and I'm Jordan's roommate, but we're shockingly not in our apartment this time. So
No.
Here we are.
We're in Katie's little habitat right now that is just full of
habitat.
It's full of
Habitat's a good word because behind you are a bunch of guinea pigs.
yeah, exactly.
It's a hedgehog.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome
Forgive
to Thought Topic Regional Headquarters.
Hot topic. Incredible.
So glad you guys are here for this HR training because we've been having problems.
You kids are not horny enough. We need to talk.
I told you guys stay horny and stop stealing AFI t-shirts for your polycule, okay?
Katie suddenly does not like corporate theft. What the fuck?
And this week, since Jeremy is out on his honeymoon, filling in as a human hot take, please welcome from the drummer from Old Man Gloom. You're like a Danzig Beyonce. You have one name, Santos.
That isn't true. Also, there's a lot of not true things that just happened. Katie is wearing pants, but I want to know if there are cookies. Is that true?
I ate all the cookies. These are leggings.
Touche.
Yeah. Welcome, Santos. This is your first podcast,
My first
right?
podcast ever, and yeah, I'm going to need some breathing room here because I'm going to really get into it.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, we'll help guide you into the land of hot takes and heavy breathing.
Hell yeah.
I want to
nice
ask
and
you a
lubricated
question,
for you.
actually, because for those at home, they might not know, there is an Instagram account called Mutoid Man Sucks, and it's all photos of like Steve standing next to an amp, and the joke is like when Steve tours solo, he's the tallest member of Mutoid Man.
That's pretty good.
And there's a bunch of really funny stuff, and most of Mutoid Man thought it was me. Are you Mutoid Man Sucks?
No, I'm not, and I didn't actually. I knew about that a while ago, but I haven't checked it in a long time. There's also same picture of Santos every day. I think it's the same person. They like took a picture of me eating a burrito bowl and then zoomed in on it forever, and then zoomed back out and zoomed in and wrote kind of funny, shitty things about me. I think it's the same person, but I don't know.
This feels like
neither of them are me.
This feels
Yeah.
like a real Brooklyn metal gossip girl moment.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
I'm gonna start a true crime podcast spin-off of Pod Minutes where I get down to who is Mutoid Man Sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They
Rip
thought it
someone's
was
mask off.
everyone that's been a part of the show. They thought it was me. They thought it was Drew. They thought it was Katie for a minute,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
So they went through all the people, including me, of like, well, this person's shitty and likes attention and also likes metal. It must be them.
I can't believe it's your first podcast and you know what it's all about.
Yeah, I get it.
But more importantly, Santos, you are in charge of the Old Man Gloom Facebook, which is arguably the greatest Facebook in all of metal.
It doesn't feel arguable to me. But yes.
Okay, it's undoubtedly the best. How did that happen?
Well, one day after Old Man Gloom had Facebook for a long time, Aaron was like, "This is really boring. Will you please do what you do on it?" And he made me an administrator, and from that day forward, it was just me making fun of metal.
It's amazing.
So it's like
Thank you
Japes.
for that. Thank you for making all of our lives better.
Yeah.
Well, and making my bandmates' lives worse at the same time. Yeah, this year has been the lead up to Roadburn. I don't know if you guys saw that thing, but I really fucked up the worst that I've done a lot of shitty things on that Facebook, but the Roadburn thing was the worst, where, in case you don't know, I thought it would be a good idea to announce Roadburn by making fake text message conversations with people that were curating Roadburn. So And so it was just me texting myself on my phone and changing the name so it looked like I was texting the people that do Roadburn. So I did 3. I started with Walter, who's this like really sweet Dutch man. I think the Rough Riders are outside. We're gonna have to pause
sorry
for a
about
Yeah,
minute.
hold
that.
on. Wait, let's wait for these Batman villains to finish going by.
My experience with this is it actually might last a very long time.
Yeah, it is one of those things where you're on the street and you see this happen and you're like, it is the video.
And then you're like, wait, there's a 4-wheeler. And there's a 6-year-old riding a dirt bike. This is amazing.
And they're all doing wheelies at the same time.
Yeah, wait a minute. There's an actual motorcycle from Spider-Man 3?
And why does everybody like this?
like-
So Walter from Roadburn, he's this really sweet, man who does this festival that everybody loves, and he's got these eclectic tastes, and he is really like super inspired and tries to make it really diverse and eclectic and all that. And of course, being a fucking blood-sucking vampire, I'm like, oh yeah, I have to go after this guy. So I
Yeah.
did him first, and I did this whole conversation between me and him, and it was all just kind of making fun of him being Dutch. And I put that, I put that out in the world, and it went pretty well. And even he thought it was funny, and it was so ridiculous. I'm like, oh, everybody knows this isn't real. So my second victim was.
There's your mistake.
I know, that's
People on the
exactly my
internet
mistake.
ain't smart. I'm one of them.
Oh, it's giving me like the sweats just thinking about it. So the second one I did was At the Gates singer Thomas, who again everyone says is like the sweetest guy. I made this fake text conversation with this guy I've never met, never talked to, and it was me basically being like, "Hey man, Old Man Gloom really wants to play Roadburn," and it was him being like, "Who the fuck are you? I don't know who you are." Basically, the crux is like Peter Steele's dick is bigger than your band, and then the whole conversation goes back and forth, mostly about Peter Steele's dick and him being mean to me. And I sent that out on the internet, and so I'm at work. At the time, I was working on Broad City, and so I work on a movie set. So like I put my phone away because you can't have phones out and blowing takes and all that stuff. So I send this shit out into the world. I put my phone away. I look at my phone like 45 minutes later. I've got 10 emails. I've got 15 phone calls. I've got text messages from my bandmates being like, "What did you do?" I've got emails from the Roadburn people being like, "What did you do?" Thomas is on his honeymoon in Mexico, and he's getting calls from metal publications and his friends being like, "Why are you being such a dick to Old Man Gloom?" And this dude is like on his fucking honeymoon in Mexico having to deal with my bullshit. And
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
it was really a big misstep. I thought that nobody on earth would think it was real. Like,
You've never been a woman on the internet.
I have not. I have not. It was,
People will believe what they want to believe.
yes.
Well, look on the bright side. At least you didn't shit on Tool.
Well,
Drew, the cancel book has been written on you. Open and shut case, baby.
the next day, I was going to send another one out. The third climax was going to be me and Matt Pike. And the only thing that saved me from getting punched in the face by Matt Pike is Thomas freaking out and me having to apologize on the internet, or else I would have sent that Matt Pike one out and it would have gone really, really, really
Okay,
bad.
I think
Just
Matt
between
Pike
us
losing a
girls.
toe
Hilarious.
kept you from getting punched by Matt Pike also.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just between us girls, what was the Matt Pike one gonna be?
It was going to be all about lizard people. And him... It was going to be all about how he believes that they're actually, because they headlined both nights, he was going to be telling me, "You can have our spot because we're canceling. Roadburn is all lizard people and we're not fucking playing." So that was going to be the gist of that one. And I've learned since then that the whole lizard people thing is they don't find it funny, and we're not
Who doesn't
supposed to
find it
talk
funny?
about
The
it.
lizard people?
Well, yeah, they have a terrible sense of humor, notoriously
Think it's
lizard
real.
people.
They also aren't big fan of Jews.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are Jews not lizard people?
I mean, generally speaking,
We're
people
turtle
who
people.
believe in
Question.
lizard people are widely anti-Semitic.
Yeah, something about being cold-blooded and matzo ball soup doesn't mix. Also, did you have a singles mixer at Roadburn?
Yeah, that was another thing that I joked a lot. So the year before, I think Mutoid Man and Wear Your Wounds and one of Aaron Turner's many bands were all there. and I wasn't, so I decided to make my presence known by not being there, and I like made basically a fake comedy night at Roadburn and made a listing for it, and there was also a margaritas mixer, and I hammered it home so hard that one of the women that works at Roadburn was like, why don't you just do your stupid fucking margarita mixer this year? And so I actually had a margarita singles mixer, and it was successful and weird and mostly just people standing around staring at me waiting for me to say something. And nobody got laid, nobody made out, nobody mixed.
A metal show.
It was pretty
How was it
disappointing.
Yeah, I was
How
like,
was
how
a mixer successful if nobody mixed?
Exactly. Well, it was successful in that I did it, and it got it got slightly less weird, like 40 minutes in, and people just stopped staring at me and got drunk, and so
That's fair.
Yeah,
well, shit.
I mean, that's how we talk about our shows. Like, well, we did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean-
We have a show because we made it.
yeah. It's 90% of the battle, right?
Yeah.
Just like making something exist.
When we
Yes.
shot the Walter episode, that couple made out. Like there were people making out after the shoot. I thought that was awesome.
they were like that the whole time. I had to tell them to get out of the fucking shot like 4 times. Like, I'm not
Why,
here
Katie?
to
That's
wait.
good content.
Oh God, no.
So your show was more successful in getting somebody made out with than my margarita singles mixer.
Yes.
Kat, do you want to talk? What did you listen to this week?
I
that you
totally
liked?
forgot that this is a segment of the show because I've been absent for like 2 weeks. I was alone a lot this week, and so I listened to a ton of stuff, and yet for some reason right now I can't think of a single thing except for today I listened to a lot of Mark Lanigan because
Hell
I
yeah.
always love to listen to
Yeah.
Mark Lanigan. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Do you have certain things you like to listen to when you don't feel well that are like comforting to you?
Peaches.
Hell yeah.
Hell
I
yeah.
Peaches will always make me feel better. Peaches and Foreigner will always, no matter
Hell
what, make
yeah.
me
What a
feel awesome.
combination. I love that.
It's just sleazy
Kat,
party music.
how are we not best friends?
What did you listen to, Katie?
Well, me and Jordan went to our apartment in St. Vitus last night, and I had never seen our friend of the show band before, Mutant Scum.
Yeah.
And they were like fucking sick. They're really good. They're mutants that are hairy and have scary monster faces.
Yeah.
And I'm not even joking. You can look at pictures on my Instagram. And it was really fucking sick. It's always great when you just go into a show and know nothing about a band and you're like, this is just fucking delightful.
Costumes help. The costumes are really cool.
I
They
love-
have like crazy ghillie suits.
You guys
It's
will
also-
be unsurprised that I loved costume bands growing up. Like, I just fucking love that shit. I
Yeah,
love the
dude.
Locusts. Give it to me. I don't care.
The Locusts,
great.
the Aquabats. What's the not Guar band?
Green Jello? Were they in costumes? No, they were
Maybe.
cartoons. I'm sorry.
Lord Eye. That's what
Oh,
it's-
shit.
Lord Eye.
I forgot all about them.
Yeah. Hi, Drew. Do you want to talk
Hey,
about
man.
what song you listened to this week, or something that you liked this week?
Oh, yeah. Hey, what's up? Resident Meathead Drew here with the Hardcore Report. It's a sunny 87 degrees, and I went to the gym listening to Candy, which is
This-
a really fucking cool band.
Beatdown report.
The beat
Super
down.
Beatdown.
The-
So I also listened to Mouth Breather. And they're awesome, and they're really heavy, and they have their album is called Doll Meat, which is the fucking freakiest name I've ever heard.
It's a good
And they
title.
have a song called Milk Shit Dirt, so you know what you're getting.
Fuck yeah.
That sounds like something we've called the audience at the beginning of the show. What's up,
Milk shit dirt.
shit dirts?
Milk Shit Dirt is what I get at the Van Leeuwen.
There's
New York
this one stretch on the way to my job where I get hollered at a lot, so I've gotten in a phase of listening to hardcore on the way there so I can just be like all puffed up and angry looking.
Yeah.
So I will definitely be listening to that.
Santos, what did you listen to this week that you liked?
I am in an inescapable Carly Rae Jepsen prison right now. I cannot stop. I can't
Man,
stop.
second guest in a week. Just everyone's in the Carly Rae Jepsen
Can't get out.
universe.
I can't stop.
If you
I
listen-
want to listen to other things. I can't.
It's awesome.
You think if you are creating heavy music, you just crave like the songwritings of a poppy virgin? Is that what it is? Because yeah, you're the second dude to be like, I just love Carly Rae. We're a Carly Rae friendly household.
I feel like
Yeah.
I hear this from metal musicians a lot. That like
Yeah.
the last thing they want to listen to when they get home is metal because it's just like there's only so much like headbanging one can do.
I
Yeah.
get it. I listen to mostly Robin and Cher when we're not doing this.
And I just said I listen to Peaches and Foreigner because I have
Yeah.
to listen to metal at my job constantly. So
Yes.
yeah.
All great.
Yeah, I mean, she's legit though. She's a really amazing songwriter, and it's like hit after hit after hit. I can't get enough.
What about you, Jorby?
I also was going down just like a Danzig history hole, and I was like doing. I always forget how much I love like Joey Castillo because he's such a cool drummer, and he's been in everything. And I found out he had a band with Todd Youth and John Joseph of the Cro-Mags called Blood Clot. And it's great.
Awesome. That sounds sick.
It sounds like exactly what the name of that band would be.
Like, I can already hear it.
How did nobody take Blood Clot before then?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It's like-
Shocking.
There are bands like that where like it's like it's a new band and they have a name and you're like, how were they the first one?
Like
to be called
Candy.
that?
Is Candy a new band?
I mean, to be
Yeah.
fair, I think a lot of times there are other bands. It's just if you have the most successful version of that, you get to like claim that shit mountain. You know what I
just
mean?
steamroll it. Yeah.
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 That's why we got to like bands that are like full sentences.
But I think that's kind of fucking cool though, because like you could probably right now start a really awesome hardcore band called Bruce Springsteen and get away with it. As long as you're really heavy, I think that's fucking
actually
awesome.
not a bad idea.
I was about to say,
I would
like,
listen to that for
Who's
sure.
doing that though?
Yeah, with no irony, just like, hey, what's up, motherfuckers? We're Bruce Springsteen from New Brunswick, New Jersey. Kick your friends.
You just put the V instead of the U, and then you're good, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We recorded this album on the Path Train. All right. Speaking of New Jersey, let's
go.
get into this. For those who don't know, and if you're listening to this podcast and don't know, what are you doing? What's wrong? Are you sick? Megadeth is off the Psycho Vegas lineup for obvious reasons. Poor David is sick. We'll make fun of you when you're healthier.
I'll push right through. I don't care.
We can't retroactively take back all the imitations of him. That's
Yeah.
all.
The only person that could replace Dave Mustaine at a music festival is Danzig. The original Misfits are playing Psycho Vegas. I'm gonna have a heart attack about it. I will cry probably. I'm so excited.
We're all excited.
What do you
We
think?
are invited somewhere that the Misfits are playing. I think that is the coolest thing in the fucking world.
How did that
do you-
happen? I mean, like, we shouldn't be allowed.
Well, we were there like already, so I
know.
think it's.
We did it. We did that sneaky thing where you just wait. You're like, you help bring the amp in, and then you're just hang around.
Yeah, 100%. We're a bunch of fake roadies. How are you feeling about it, Santos?
Well, so when we first found out about we were playing Psycho, we were told by our booking agent we're playing, and maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but who cares? We're playing the main stage right before Carcass. That to me was like, holy fuck!
Yeah.
Like 13-year-old me would lose his goddamn mind
That's
if he
so
knew.
cool.
It's like I can't play it cool because it's too awesome.
Yeah.
So then we found out later that Megadeth was playing. We thought it was going to be Slayer, but that apparently was not the case. It was Megadeth. And Aaron from Old Man Gloom is a huge Megadeth fan, like Megadeth obsessed. So he was really stoked. And we actually shared like really sweet, not shitty text messages, which is rare for us, about like, he's like, who would have thought that our stupid monkey band would be opening for Carcass and Megadeth, and we were like both pretty emotional about it. And then, Dave dropped off, and this morning when I saw the Misfits thing, I was like, fucking A, like teenage me could not have picked a better lineup. So I'm really, really stoked because I've been Danzig obsessed. I bought Danzig 1 the day it came out in 1988, like waited at the record store and bought it the day it came out. I've been Danzig obsessed since as long as I can remember.
That's awesome. Yeah, I probably would have done that. Like, just reached through my mom's belly button
Yeah.
and dropped $12 on the counter.
It was really like $9 back then.
That's a good segue into just the series. This for the month of July, we're doing a series on the podcast called Dirty Black Summer. We're gonna listen.
Oh, in support. That was supportive.
I can't tell if the arms are stop it.
They're usually stop it, but in this point it was like. Burr, 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 burr.
I was searching my brain and like, are there dog sounds on the song "Dirty Black Summer"? Is there?
Katie
That's
has
the
barked
Danzig
just-
watchdog, which just notifies that he's around. Could be bad, could be good, depends on what you've done.
It's how we originally did the weather segment. A dog told it. We were like, okay, great. For me and Drew, like Danzig is my favorite musician. Just like celebrity in the entire world. I love him. I love every like band he's had. But I know that I think this goes for Drew as well. Like, and just everyone on the podcast that we have not listened past Danzig 3. I feel like I knew some dark things were happening. I think Drew, why did you never listen past Danzig 3?
Okay, so was that a motorcycle?
There was a motorcycle. There's a lot.
That sounded really cool.
One lone
summer.
Rough Rider that couldn't catch up.
It's summer in Bushwick. We just gotta.
Hell yeah.
Might be DMX.
Yeah,
Probably.
you just got like crop dusted by a barber. Okay, so my thing personally is that I like the things that I like, and I'm very hesitant to double dip because I'm always afraid it's gonna be bad, and I don't want to ruin the thing that I love. So like, I have a tattoo of RoboCop. It's my favorite movie. I love RoboCop 2. Never seen RoboCop 3 because I know it's bad, and I don't want to like taint the image of it. You know, like I've never. I'm a huge Transformers person, and I've never watched any of the weird, like 80s Japanese only weird stuff because I just don't want to taint the stuff that I love. And so like I know that the first 3 Danzigs are great, and I was like, you know what, this is enough. I don't want to ruin it because there's no way that this could be good.
For me, as I have said on this podcast in the past, I did not grow up loving punk rock because I hated the shitty punk kids at my school and therefore didn't listen to their music. And it wasn't until I moved to Portland that I like really learned about punk. And then I moved in with Jordan in New York, and he was like, "You've never listened to Danzig? This is ridiculous." So because of Jordan, I've like dived into the Misfits and Danzig, but my knowledge of them is very young, and so I will not have huge amounts of expertise on here, but I really liked this record a lot. I thought it was
Cool.
awesome.
Katie.
I have always been more fascinated with Danzig, the mythic figure, than the music personally. I listened to them when I was young, but I don't think I really, my palate has changed a lot, like, over the years, like, and I think when I was young, I liked Garbage, so I just, like, never got into it the way I should have.
Like
as,
the
like,
band Garbage or like garbage music?
Garbage music, not the band Garbage. I think they're a really good, just general medium. But yeah, so I didn't really like fuck with the Misfits the way that you probably would have thought I did until I was also like a little older. So I don't have as many dogs in this race than I feel like the three of you do, but I do. I just love a crazy spooky person, and just like he's just bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah. What Kat said is really true, though, because I feel like a lot of people probably had the similar story of, like, I remember there was always the kids that would wear the Misfit shirts that would,
Yeah.
like, pick on me and my brother. And so it took me a really long time. I probably didn't listen to the Misfits till I was, like, 16 or 17 when one of my hippie friends, like, did a cover of Skulls at a coffee house.
Yeah, when Jordan first played that, I don't know if you played Danzig or the Misfits for me first, and I was like, this doesn't sound like shitty punk at all. This is amazing. This is just like rock
Yeah.
and roll. Why have I not listened to this? I was like, my mind was blown.
Yeah.
Santos, how did you? So you bought the first Danzig record when it came out, and you like immediately, and you were excited about it. Tell us about your Danzig history.
So I had an older brother
Yeah.
who was a metalhead. So I got to be a metalhead from a pretty like young age. Well, we were kind of like, Dio, Iron Maiden, that sort of stuff. And then we kind of found punk, or he found punk when he got to junior high. So I was pretty young. So we got really into the Misfits. And then he's kind of transitioned from punk into more death metal. So I was also exposed to death metal when that first wave of like earache stuff came out. Mm-hmm. But the Danzig love was always there. We were always really into the Misfits, and then we got into Samhain, and so then we knew that a Danzig record, a solo album, was coming out. and we couldn't wait, and we really liked it, even though at that point we were into like faster stuff and almost on the precipice of being into death metal. Danzig still was just like, that was our shit. So my older brother like instilled the Danzig thing very young.
Yeah. So you invited yourself on this podcast.
Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah.
Like most things, I flew in very hot, and now I've thought about what I said in that self-proclaimed invitation a lot. And feels a little loaded. It feels like maybe I was just posturing to get on this podcast.
Can you rephrase what the message was? Because I believe it was pretty grandiose.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've said in real life too, and had this argument before in real life. But I think Danzig 4 is better than Danzig 3.
Oh, you truly are
monster.
our Jeremy replacement.
I've got to say, I think I agree with you.
Okay. Well, all right. Start us off. Why do you think that it's a better record than Danzig?
I'm going to
3?
need like 3 hours of qualifiers though.
That's fine. Is Danzig 4 your favorite one?
No.
Is it
Basically, I think that 2 is
it's
kind
2.
of my favorite.
Yeah.
I think Danzig is a fucking dum-dum. And I think that everything that he does that is good is by accident. Not everything, but a lot.
I agree
a
with
lot
that.
of what he does, he fucking just accidentally falls into. Also, I think Rick Rubin is really the brains behind the whole thing, and which, everything after Danzig 4 was not Rick Rubin, and everything after Danzig 4 is complete fucking utter trash. Garbage. I mean, God bless everybody who has to go on and do 3 more albums.
Yeah, I'm
Danzig
so
4.
scared.
Yeah, it's especially the next one, 5. It's unlistenable.
Great.
Yeah,
I
perfect.
can't wait.
Strap in.
Basically, my point is that there are the songs that are good on Danzig 4 are better than the songs that are good on Danzig 3, and they both have more shitty songs than good songs.
All right. So I disagree with that vehemently. Because I think that 2 is the best one, and I think that 3 is my favorite, because I think 3 has my favorite Danzig song. I think
Which is?
How the Gods Kill is the best thing he ever wrote. So here's how I see the evolution of the band: is you get like Danzig 1, which is Rick Rubin being like, fire your drummer, get a good guitarist, and like Danzig is like, I'm keeping my boy Erie to do this record, and like Rick Rubin shapes Danzig 1 from like a Sam Hain record into being more of like a rock record, and like Chuck and John are providing like actual interesting music behind what Danzig is singing about and how he's singing.
Totally.
And I think that it's really fun. I think that they make Danzig 2 and they have the most fun. Like the most fun songs are on that record.
Yeah, that's John Christ's record all the way.
Yeah. Oh my God. His solos on that record, he plays, I've said this before in the podcast, like every solo he does on that record, it's like his guitar turned into a snake and he's trying to get control of it. Like, whoop, oh shit. Oh God. Here we go. And then you get to Danzig 3, and it's finally, and I see that as an album where it's like he's not just trying to sing songs about, like there is this, but he's not just like, fuck the church. Fuck you, Jesus.
I'm really spooky. Just every song.
I hate Christ.
Do you know how spooky I am?
Yeah. This is going to be there's going to be so many yells on this pod. It's going to be a lot. But I see that on Danzig 3, he's really trying to write songs that are like about something. Like How the Gods Kill is I think is a very interesting take on like a suicide song, because I see that song as him writing about suicide from a success perspective. You know what I mean? Because that's the whole like, and the whole question is how the gods kill is like the gods kill you by making you kill yourself. Like I think that that's sort of what it's about, and it's actually really deep and cool. But that record, and he has a lot of songs like that on that record. but the band is still having like a ton of fun. And then the thing is, after Danzig 3, that's when Mother becomes a hit single.
Right.
After like it's a live remix, and so it actually propels Danzig to mainstream. Is a song he wrote in the 80s, and now people are really looking at him. And I feel like when I listen to Danzig 4, I don't think it's a bad record at all, but I see him he's having almost no fun. They're trying a lot of stuff that a lot of his that I think a lot of people do better than him.
Right.
There's so many like effects, and I think he's like mainstream, and he's like feeling the pressure of being up there with like Rob Zombie and like a Trent Reznor, and is like trying to be. It's the next logical step after Danzig 3, but it's just I feel like it's missing fun. And I think that's essential for Danzig.
I agree that Danzig doesn't know what makes himself good. I think he's Mr. Magooing the fuck around all times.
Yeah.
And while I agree that Danzig 3 is way better album, I actually have a counterpoint here. I think he really wanted to make Danzig 4. I think this is the most Danzig album. I think this is Danzig trying. I think this is Danzig being cognizant, and he's like, yeah, I want clear vocals. I want to do a horny devil ASMR in the middle of this.
Yeah.
Like, I think the problem here is like he fucking, fucking Jar Jar Binks this shit and got to make all the calls.
Yeah,
and
this is Danzig unhinged. Like this album has more than any other album. My favorite Danzig thing, which is when he just screams like Ray Romano stepping on a rusty nail.
Yes!
He's just it's great. I love it.
It's like real prosciutto hours on this album.
Oh my God.
Well, you also have to assume that he's now much richer than he's ever been after Mother was like a mega hit, and he's playing much bigger venues, and he's much more famous now than he's ever been. And so, with a dum-dum like Danzig, he's like, I'm rich, I'm famous, I'm the shit. And so that's probably why he fires his band right after this is made, and he probably is just like calling all the shots, and nobody can edit him, even Rick Rubin, because he's fucking full Danzig that he's never been Danzig before.
Yeah, this is like the start of his like spooky cowboy phase, where he really gets into like what he wants to do, which is like Roy Orbison, Elvis kind of music, and you can tell that he's kind of always wanted to do that. And the first time I listened to this album, I was like, this album is fucking horseshit. And then I can't stop listening to it. I love this album. I really love this album. I don't know if I like it more than 3, but I love it.
I could not stop listening to it. Like,
You're talking about 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
4. Yeah.
This
4.
episode is about 4.
Okay, I want to double.
But I can tell why people don't like it, and there's a big reason for that, which is that the album starts off with like Brand New God, awesome, what a fucking
awesome
jam.
Song.
Little Whip, great song, what a fucking
Fuck that
jam.
song. That song is
horseshit. I'm with Jordan on this one. I
that
hate
song.
Oh, you don't
is
like Little Whip?
literally
I hate
nothing.
that song.
It is horny. It is nothing's happening. The entire song. It is the most unsexy BDS. He's written a shit ton of BDSM songs. The most boring one he ever wrote.
See, I like it. I don't like Can't Speak. I think that song is horseshit.
Oh, love Can't Speak.
I love
it.
Can't Speak too,
Really?
except for that
Love
distorted vocal part. When he throws the distortion on it, I'm like, yeah, you fucking derailed it.
I love Can't Speak because it seems like the purest form of Danzig to me. And again, this is me coming into Danzig like I learned about him fully when I was like 30. So like I fully recognize that like I have a lot to learn here, but to me he's always seemed like such a sad boy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Can't Speak is just like him just like putting his heart on his sleeve and just being like little sad man, which is exactly what he is. I look at him.
I know what Danzig's saying.
Exactly. It also it has this like slow build, and he's not singing like a dying moose like he usually does. I love it.
That's why I hate it. I want the moose.
Well, and it also has a really, like, the tempo gets all fucked up, and it starts rushing at the end, and as a drummer with shitty tempo, I'm like, see? Doesn't matter, guys. This is a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, my main criticism of this album is the parts where they're really experimenting don't work. I think every song overstays its welcome except for like maybe 3 of them. I think every song is so long and there's a lot of repetition throughout everything.
Yeah.
I think he sings really well in this album. I think he's it's really good stuff.
I do
for the
have
most
trouble telling the songs apart from memory.
Yeah,
like
I
they do
can't-
kind of bleed together.
There are
I
like
tried
3
to
that
li-
have extremely sick riffs that I remember those songs really well. But the other ones, I'm just like, I don't know. The one that sounds like he stepped on a Lego in the middle of it, like
The going down to die song.
I think
That's my
it's,
favorite.
Oh, Son of the Morning Star, like has a sick riff in the middle
Yeah.
of it, but there's a part toward the end where it's just like, well, I was listening to it with my friend Ian Corey last night. We were both just like laughing hysterically about the thought of him just in the vocal booth by himself, and everybody's around like just listening to the isolated vocals, and he's just like, it's just-
and then he was like, I killed it.
Yeah.
And nobody
Success.
can tell him no because he's so successful and has so much money for the first time in his career, and like it's so overproduced and so ridiculous, and there's like a sitar on there somewhere and there's like weird percussion, and he's just like, why not? Let's do it all. Like, this is gonna be
I'm
great.
gonna do a song where I sing like Elvis, and then I'm gonna use the rest of my money to buy an 8-foot Marvin the Martian statue. Marvin the Martian.
Well,
If he can be tall, I can be tall too.
I'm sure you can, Danzig.
the Ray Romano in the room though is that his voice is completely fucking blown out on 3 and 4. On 4, it's extremely blown out. Like his voice is annihilated. And 3, you can hear it starting to go down that path. Like when he can't do the like loud howl like he could on 2 and 1. So on 3, his howls are starting to get like that. And then on 4, he's just fucking completely blown out. And he's been blown out ever since. And anybody that's seen him live or listened to any of those records knows that his voice is just...
There is so many stories about him and that fucking soundboard.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Well, he's pushing 40 in this album, you know? Like,
Right.
he's been screaming for a long time.
Right. And he doesn't take care of himself, obviously. He
Of course not.
eats Milk Duds before he
He
goes
works
on
out his
stage.
glamour muscles. That's
yeah,
about it.
exactly. So that, in my mind, is the biggest fault of 4, is that he does sing, like, the lower kind of Danzig-y crooning sounds great, but when he tries to push it like he did on other albums, he just can't do it. And in my mind, if those had been good, this album, like, there would be no question about it. Like, Going Down to Die is, like, in my top 5 Danzig songs.
I agree.
Ever.
It was definitely my favorite on this album.
The lyrics
the weird
are
thing that I
awesome.
found...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
The lyrics are awesome. The fucking riff is awesome. The arrangement is awesome. It doesn't like meander like the rest of them.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. But his voice in the choruses, it's like you just feel sad. It's like this song
Yeah.
is so good, and that like
As someone who doesn't listen to Danzig probably as regularly as the rest of you, with the exception of Kat, of course.
Well, now I listen to him regularly. Within the last like 10 months of my life, he's been on consistent rotation.
What a journey you've been on.
I'm sorry.
But
Jordan really opened up my world. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
whenever I put on an album of his, I'm always taken aback for the first 30 seconds about how hilarious he sounds.
Yeah.
Like, there's an
too.
adjustment period where I'm like, oh, this isn't a joke. Like,
Yeah, that's the thing, is getting into... I think the thing that we have to, like, address before we, like, are actually rating the quality of a human cartoon is, like, we have... It's... When you first hear Danzig, I think there is, like... Even when you end up liking it, there is a part... You know that it doesn't sound right. You know that it's goofy. Like, the first time you heard, like, Danzig 1, or even, like, every version of Danzig, there's something that sounds bad. Like, the instruments sound bad on the Misfits. He sounds a little weird on, like, like, you have to adjust to it. He's, like, a weird... He is a wine.
Right.
He is his own very weird brand of wine that you have to get... kind of used to, and like it's one of those things where like my girlfriend doesn't like metal, and so when she wanted to like hear like music by my like favorite guy, I'm like, this isn't gonna work. You're not gonna know it's, but you know, it's also Danzig does have a very good voice when he chooses to sing like correctly, I was doing some research and I found out that before they recorded, like he and like everybody like went in to record Danzig 1, Rick Rubin had him record an original song for the movie Less Than Zero.
Oh, yeah.
And it's literally just Danzig like signed up to do it. He's like, I love that book. He sings this beautiful doo-wop song. It's one of the most you hear exactly what like his voice is supposed to sound like as a human being.
Like a crooner voice.
Yeah.
But he just is clawing so hard against that, which I can relate to because I sound like a fucking Muppet, and I don't like how I'm living.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just put it together. It makes so much sense. Danzig is the Nicolas Cage of music.
Oh
Yeah,
my
totally.
God.
Oh, they even
He
kinda
could
look
do
alike.
it well and straight, but it's more fun to see him go off the rails.
100%.
That's the thing, and that's also why everybody I know who has a Danzig tattoo has a Nicolas Cage throw pillow.
Yeah, that's true.
That's so
But
real.
all
A
right,
very specific slice of the population that you're friends with.
Jordan.
yeah. Hello.
Do you have a Danzig tattoo?
No.
No.
But
But
I
you
might
would.
as well
You would
have.
if you could.
I have 2 horror movie tattoos. That equals a Danzig tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well be a Danzig tattoo.
Didn't you used to have a Nick Cage shower curtain?
Yes. I did have a Nicolas Cage shower curtain.
It was really startling.
Yeah.
This is the second time on the podcast I've talked about your shower curtain. 'Cause
I have
now
good
you have
shower curtains.
now you have a share one.
Yeah.
It's much better.
Drew and I had a Sailor Moon shower curtain.
I remember that.
It was
too.
great.
That was so cute.
But Kat, I completely understand why this is your favorite Danzig album.
It's not my favorite. I just really like it. My favorite is the first one
Right, okay.
because I absolutely love how simple and raw and straightforward it is. There's no extraneous production, and
Yeah.
besides, "She Rides" is like the sexiest like slutty song ever, and I love it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Have
that
you ever seen
song-
the She Rides video?
I don't think so.
Oh boy.
Do I not want to? Will it ruin it for
Oh
me?
no, you really, really, really
Okay,
want to.
as soon as we
Yeah,
go
you
home,
have to
I'm
see
gonna.
this shit.
yeah.
It is the longest shot of just somebody's butt, just being a butt, that has to exist because it's just like the whole time that drum beat is going on in the song. There's just solely a butt on the screen
a
going
butt.
like.
That's pretty cool, right?
I
It
hope
just
that
feel-
that woman put that on her resume forever.
The
My
butt.
butt is
She
so
yeah.
good. It's just. It's the entire video, actually.
It's like that thing. It's like, am I watching a video or have I been staring at Born in the USA for a couple of minutes?
Oh my god! Also, the best butt. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So 1 is my favorite.
Right.
And I like 4 more than I like 3. I just think that it's such a goddamn mess, but it's such a fun mess, and it's
Yeah.
so all over the place, and it has like a little bit of everything, and I just think it's just like completely unhinged. But yeah, it's by no means my favorite.
Okay. Well, never mind that shit. I don't.
Well, what were you gonna say? You were gonna say you agree with.
I was
me
gonna
about
say
something.
like I just based on what I know that you like because of how gothy and deserty this album is,
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense that this is like something that you are really interested in.
That's interesting because when I was listening to it, it kind of reminded me of like the Smashing Pumpkins or something. Like Can't Speak
That's
has
what
like
I
Yeah.
was
Really?
feeling. It's like that's what I meant. Also, by this being like I feel like really wanted to get. Danzig, I think, has an inferiority complex while
He's
also
5'3",
being,
so yeah.
egomaniac. And I think this came out in 1994.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's seeing like your Billy Corgans and stuff like that, and he's like, I can be just as pretty as these weird spooky boys, and I
Yeah.
think like it was very intentional.
If
that-
Billy Corgan can wear like a vinyl muumuu and shave his head and
Yeah.
be a sex symbol, then so can I.
yeah, there was like straight up tracks on here that like sounded like Smashing Pumpkins or I don't know who a contemporary would be, but it's interesting. You
It
brought up
sounded
Nine
like
Inch-
Hole to me,
Can't
to
Speak
be honest.
reminds me of the
It
song
sounded like
Pug
the-
on Adore by Smashing Pumpkins, which
Oh, word.
which also is an album that is widely like shat upon by a lot of fans because it's like the weird gothy one.
Yeah.
And it's like not in line with their other stuff at all. But the song Can't Speak has like a similar build up and like a similar like consistent little sound in the background that it does. I don't know. Go home and listen to it, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, definitely this sounds like the rest of the records don't sound like production-wise the time when they came out. This one fucking sounds like 1994.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I'm
Front to
sure
back.
there was like really intense moments between him and Rick Rubin because Rick Rubin still makes records that sound cool and almost, I mean, he's made some shitty records too, but for the most part, you trust Rick Rubin. And I'm sure Danzig was fighting that fight. And yeah, the production is maybe the hardest thing on this record because it does not sound very good. It sounds very 90s.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part about reading the thing is Chuck Biscuits was like, well, the drums sound really good.
Yeah, and they do not. I mean, they sound okay. They're not like Saint Anger bad, but they're
No.
Right.
they're like the drums sound so good on all the other records, especially Danzig 1, where
Yeah.
they're fucking bone dry and
Yeah.
just cool sounding.
It
Yeah,
rules.
on 4 they sound like every other overproduced record, and
Yeah.
and it's probably Chuck Biscuit's best performance on any record. He fucking kills it, but the drums just do not sound very good.
You know, the early 90s was just like generally not a good time for production. Like it was great for the sort of more raw bands. I mean,
Yeah.
like Nirvana's Nevermind is like an example of just like a straightforward record that sounds really good. But then you have even like the production of Jagged Little Pill and like early Fiona Apple records. Like if they were recorded today, they would sound completely different. But everybody was just like using these really farty bass tones and like
Yeah.
everything was just really overproduced and like there's like a keyboard where there shouldn't be.
Oh my
and,
god,
You know,
Yeah.
so jarring.
everybody was obsessed with doing that at the time. So this is almost like toned down compared to what else was coming out.
That's so funny. So you think that the songs are better on Danzig 4 and like there are more of them? Because I think Danzig 3, like from Godless to Left Hand Black, bangers. There's only, and then Sistina's is great. I think the only songs you can argue are like not great are like Heart of the Devil and then like whatever the fuck the last 2 are because I never listened that far.
Right. The last 2 are not very good. I think Bodies is ridiculous and terrible. That song.
It was a journey.
Dum, 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 dum. As a sidebar, has any musician ever brought less to the table than Eerie Von? I mean, he's like, what a non-existent.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why I was like, oh, look, he's getting his moment.
yeah, and it's horrible.
why I like
That's his
it.
moment. It's like it's horrible. Bodies is not good. I think Godless is not a good song.
What?
I think it starts so good. The first like 18 seconds are like, holy fuck, what's happening?
that
And then it
fucking
just
bell
like
drum fill is so cool.
it is.
When
it's amazing.
the song breaks down, and then it's just like a guy hitting a mallet. I mean, hitting a mallet into like an anvil. It's awesome.
fucking
like what a way to
crashes.
stop a song.
So I actually think Heart of the Devil is terrible. I think that's a bad song.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, I think that the songs that are good. I actually think Dirty Black Summer is not that great of a song.
What?
Yeah.
I think I was gonna say.
I know,
I think
I know.
that is a better. I kind of like that song as like a sexy Danzig song more than She Rides a little bit.
I mean, the 50 seconds of rain sounds at the beginning, that's a real buzzkill.
Yeah, that shit is ridiculous.
And
Well, I
actually,
think. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Finish your thought.
Sorry.
well, his vocals are really just also super tinny on that song. Like the vocals on that song don't sound like the rest of the record for some reason, and it just feels kind of, I don't know, like meandering, like the songs on 4.
But
personally.
3 flows so well. Like the reason I like 3 better than 2 because I think 2's a skipper, and I think 3 like has just like everything in a row that's really good. And the thing about 4, it's the 2 songs that I don't like on 4 are placed in weird spots, and that's what makes it feel like a bad album to me. But like the only songs that I don't like on 4 are the 2 that are spelled wrong. For some reason, that's the correlation. I don't know why. I hate Sadistical. I really
Oh,
hate that
God.
song.
Oh, it's garbage.
It's kind of embarrassing.
It's really awful.
Yeah.
absolute trash.
I also don't like the Stalker song. I think that song's really
No, I don't
gross.
think it's good
Yeah,
either.
I was not into it.
I
Yeah.
would challenge anybody here to tell me a good metal song with that fucking rim clappy thing. I don't even know what it is because I've never done it and I'll fucking never do it
Yeah.
because there's no reason to do it. And the fact that like most of that song is that stupid clappy rim shot thing. Ugh.
It is awful.
Yeah.
What do you think about Anything? That's a very divisive Danzig song.
I'm not crazy about anything. I think it's fine. I think it's like a passable, like I don't skip it, but it's not my favorite. That's the thing, is I think the end, the second half of 3 is better. Left Hand Path is great. I think Sistenas is like, again, one of the best
amazing.
fucking Danzig songs. And I also think that he just that was all an accident. I think he thought he was going to make a cool 50s song. That guitar line is insane how bad it is. But then Rick Rubin, tied it all together, and Rick Rubin himself was probably like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? This is amazing. I thought this was going to be terrible. So I think Sistenas is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love that song too. I think it follows. I think why I'm more forgiving of like bodies and everything is Danzig 3 follows the same pattern as Danzig 2 and Danzig 1. Like there's always, it's like, all right, you got like an opening that fucking slaps, and then you gotta have the weird bluesy song like on each record. Like you have like I'm the one. Bodies is Danzig 3's version of like I'm the one. So I'm like, all right, you got to have like the horny song, which is like the Dirty Black Summer. It just follows the Danzig album rules. So I'm like, this is fine. There's always this one. I don't think that I usually like when musicians try a bunch of new things. I'm usually for that. But again, my biggest critique of Danzig 4 is just like, I think it's a good record. I think there's a lot of good shit on it. It's just not fun to listen to. It was a chore at times to like continue to listen to it. I wanted to stop a lot. Like the second time I listened to it, I was like, there's moments where I'm like, this rules. And then it got to spots where I was like, I gotta listen to anything.
It's way too long.
I gotta listen to like Snakes of Christ for a second.
The last 4 songs are all terrible. Maybe even 5. I can't remember the order, but the last part of that album is like, fuck, it's exhausting.
Yeah, it's a shit ton to get through.
Yeah.
And I
Don't Mind the Pain. I thought that was a cool song.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's not a bad one.
Yeah. Before we get into like the later of the unlistenable stuff, I think that there's a lot of pressure on Danzig at this point for like that he needs to make albums, and Danzig is very clearly not an album person. Like the Misfits, no one likes a Misfits album. There aren't even real Misfits albums until after they become, like the Chuck E. Cheese band in the 90s. Danzig writes a bunch of good songs and puts them together. Like if you took a little from 1, a little from 2, a little from 3, a little from 4, and made like a Danzig legacy set, I guess, which I've seen him do live. Like that's a good album. I think Danzig presents David Bowie changes is what I want to hear.
You want a greatest hits.
I want a Danzig greatest hits, and he never made it. He should.
Is this because this is a good idea, or because you're 30 now? Is this what happens?
It's a bit of
actually-
both.
What happens with
honestly.
old age?
I actually agree with Drew. Like Danzig has individual great songs in him and not an album, and he needs like years in between to figure it out because he's very stupid and it takes a while for the machine to cook up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no Danzig album.
Reboot every time.
No Danzig album in any of his bands are good all the way through.
Yep.
There's turds
Correct.
on every album he's ever made. Even Danzig 1, there's turds. Maybe there's only like 1 or 2 turds. And Danzig 2, there's like a solid 2 or 3 turds. Danzig 3 becomes Turdsville at the end, and then
Turds
Danzig
is
4.
such a funny
Yeah,
word.
turds.
I shouldn't have said
Turdsville is even
turds as
better.
many times as I did.
Turdsville. Danzig is so good at writing an opening song. He sucks at writing the last song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest crime of like Danzig 3 is that How the Gods Kill isn't the last song. Like, how is that not the last song on that thing?
It makes sense
Nuts.
because Danzig's totally a dude that stays at the party too long.
Yeah.
You guys doing anything after, or what's going on?
What's going on?
But I think it's because Danzig likes the 50s so much. I think he's like, I don't know, let's put like, I have these 4 songs I like and then hire some Jew to write some more songs for me, I guess. He does like, it is like Rock Around the Clock and like fucking the 2 other Bill Haley songs, and the rest are just bullshit.
He's actually working on an Elvis covers album right now.
It's going to
Sure.
I'm sure
He's been working on that his whole life.
be. Yeah.
Yeah, he's built a
Think
career.
about it. Danzig. It took Danzig 60 years to direct a film. Think about that.
God, I really
I'm
want to
sure
see
he has
it so
some
bad.
I'm
VHS
so excited.
tapes.
I've been
can't
waiting
wait.
for that forever. But I think one point I want to make before we really wrap this up is Katie, you said that this is the most Danzig record ever, and I agree with that. I think it's the most Glenn Danzig record. I
Yes.
think that it's the least like Danzig the band.
Right.
Because they all worked really well together.
No,
on
I'm
the first
talking
show.
Danzig the man.
Danzig the man. This is the
legend.
man. Yeah. This is like what happens. This is like Sam Hain with like a little with Courtney Love, and it's just I'd rather hear Courtney Love do it.
I would just always.
That'd be sick.
to be honest.
I need to hear that.
It'd
Yeah,
be
this
cool.
is the start of Danzig's true solo career, where it's just him and people he can pay to show up.
Yeah.
You know? That's really what it is.
Well, but it is the last one again with Rick Rubin and with the full band, so it has to. I mean, it has to be considered.
Yeah. there
Right,
are
but I mean,
some-
the other albums have bands, though. He just, like, recruits people, right?
Yeah.
He
Well,
gets-
no, actually, I'm not sure. I don't think 5 has.
Oh, no.
5 might be all him.
It's him and Joey Castillo.
Like, this album's not great, but it's fun. I have a feeling only pain and suffering is waiting across the horizon for us.
Yeah.
Danzig solo is a lot like David Lee Roth's solo, where you're just like, the closer it is to what you used to like, the better it is. And then when he starts doing covers of Frank Sinatra in Spanish, you're totally into it, but you also do not want it.
That does happen.
It would be nice to hear Danzig scat a little like David Lee Roth, but
You should take some lessons from Jonathan Davis.
Ooh. What a dream
Those
team.
dudes are definitely friends, and I never want to see them hang out. That is
I
probably
kind of
such a
do. I
nightmare.
didn't think about it until right now, but I think that's a record I need to hear.
You can't mix Bozy Bozy Bop with It just doesn't work.
Good point, Drew.
well, I have heard a Danzig lore story about 5, leading you guys into 5.
Yes, please.
Lead us in.
It's so. I did a tour once with Yezu and Justin Broderick, who was in Godflesh. I guess Godflesh had toured with Danzig around the 4 time, and so they got home from tour, and I guess 4 was already out. And please forgive me, Justin Broderick, if I'm telling this story wrong. It's not my story, but Danzig's manager called Justin, and he's like, "Hey, Glenn loves Godflesh. This is the direction he wants to go. You're in Danzig now." And Justin was like, "I'm not in Danzig. I don't want to be in Danzig. I'm not in Danzig." And basically Danzig's manager was like, no, listen up here. I'm telling you, you're in Danzig now. And Justin, in his adorable British accent, is like, "I'm not in Danzig. I don't want to be in Danzig."
They were just like not emotionally prepared to hear no.
Yeah. And so Danzig's manager is like, "Well, I'm not telling him you said no." And basically gets off the phone like, "You're in Danzig." Click.
Wow.
And gets more calls of Danzig's manager being like, "So you're in Danzig." Justin keeps saying, "I'm not in fucking Danzig. I'm not going to be in Danzig." And I think at some point the manager's like, "Well, you have to tell him that you're not in Danzig because I can't tell him." And I think at some point Justin had to tell Danzig, "I'm not going to be in Danzig." And because Justin did that, we all have to listen to Black Acid Devil. So it's Justin Broderick's fault.
Wow, that
Oh my God.
that
Yeah.
I never
manager-
thought I could be mad at Justin Broderick, but
I know. Well, you should be. So
that like total like pickup artist technique to try and get him to join the band.
yeah.
Just like negging the shit out. I'm like, "Hey babe, you're in my band now." I'm like, "No, I'm not."
That
What do you mean
manager
you're
took
not my
Okay,
you.
well then
boyfriend?
you have to go dump him.
can you imagine being Danzig's manager though? Holy shit. Yeah.
Did you ever, did any of the bands that you were in, did you guys ever play with Danzig or near Danzig?
No, everybody else has. I haven't. So Mutoid Man's gone out with Danzig. Doom Riders, Nate's other band has gone out with Danzig. Aaron's bands are all too artsy to go out with Danzig. Danzig doesn't understand what Aaron does, but all the other bands have.
What's it like? It's like an angry air conditioner. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So unfortunately I've never have, and it's kind of good because I don't want to talk
you
to
would
Danzig.
troll him into the grave.
I would just be so sad, kind of like Drew was saying, like it would just get ruined. Cause I'd be like, "Oh, you are as dumb as I kind of suspect you are."
Yeah.
I want
And plus, we've all heard the stories.
Santos and Danzig texts.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine Danzig texts. Can anybody else imagine
Just
Danzig?
like all caps.
He
but, like,
does.
spaces between every letter. It's like caveman.
It's confirmed he has a flip phone, so they are
there you go.
short.
He has a flip phone. I know his email address, and it's as old as you think it is.
It's Hotmail, I'm pretty sure.
No, it's
AOL.
older than Hotmail.
AOL.
You know that joke? It's
Glenn
like he's so old, his
Danzig
social
at
security
the
number is
internet.
4.
Yep. All right, kids. Favorite songs. Let's bring it home.
I liked either Brand New God, because that was a fucking awesome opener, or Going Down to Die. I really loved the, like, Roy Orbison and Hell kind of vibe. I
Yep.
thought it was really cool.
Hell yeah.
Until You Call in the Dark. That riff is so cool.
It is really cool.
It's just like the riff has actually been stuck in my head all day. Not the song, just the riff.
And that
Love
chorus could just go on for days
Totally.
at the end. I never want that to stop.
Totally.
It's so cool.
good.
It's also the only time I think that there's like a semblance of a harmony
Yeah.
in a Danzig song.
Right.
It's like, did he harmonize with himself? I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I actually have to agree with Kat. That was the song I was gonna pick as well. It's just like the one like I said, this whole album just kind of like mushed together to me for a little bit, and that one is the only one that I
That one
keep
peeks
coming
its head
back
out
to.
and it's
Yeah,
like,
I'm
I'm
like,
actually
oh, there she is.
rad.
Yeah.
Wait, who does he harmonize with?
Himself.
Yeah, of course.
That's some Rick Rubin
course.
magic
I'm so
right there.
dumb.
Yeah.
I thought, like, wouldn't that be cool if Danzig ever did a song with background singers or something? Like, I think that would be really fucking cool.
I
They
want-
never do.
Maybe on
I
his
think
Elvis
it's-
album.
I think it's on I think he has backup singers on that Less Than Zero song.
I think you should put like a Leonard Cohen. You remember like when Leonard
Yeah.
Cohen did that weird like synth album with the two ladies singing behind him the whole
Totally.
time? I want Danzig to do that. Like Danzig, a Casio tone, and two overzealous ladies.
Danzig.
I know
great.
that's not what you meant, but I would really like to hear Danzig sing Hallelujah. But just like screaming it like,
That could be the sexy song on his record. He's got to have one slutty song on every album. So
Totally.
Well, we know he's not going to stop, so there's room for that. There's room for him to make a Lulu. There's like
Yeah.
Danzig can make
Oh.
all kinds of awfulness.
Danzig's
I'm-
definitely gonna make a Lulu. Are you
I'm
kidding
pretty
me?
sure we're about to hear the Lulu.
yeah,
Like,
let's not
there's
speak
no-
too soon.
Yeah. I do, but when you brought that up, Katie, I was like, oh, I do really want to hear like Danzig and then the Revolution, like Wendy and Lisa for Prince. That would be so cool. Santos.
Going Down to Die, without a doubt. That's like one of my favorite Danzig
Yeah.
songs. I fucking love that song. And I really like Can't Speak too.
Me too.
Yeah, it's really
so
cool.
good.
Can't Speak is super cool. I love the backwards guitar riff and shit. Yeah. I'm going to say probably like Brand New God, and for some reason, Dominion.
yes,
Okay.
that song slaps, man. That song was awesome.
That
Yeah.
Dominion is really good. I think that's my favorite. I think it's like Brand New God. I expected that. I was surprised. I liked how I was like, if the whole album sounds like Brand New God, that's fucking awesome. Just like just Danzig with a little bit of a 90s like if the 90s was a lime, you just like squeeze it on your dinner or whatever. It'd be cool.
I think I follow.
What a weird. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, yeah. So that's Danzig 4. Hooray! We did it.
Danzig
Everybody.
4, shut the
Yeah.
door. Hey.
Danzig 4 on the floor.
All right. Should we do plugs?
Yeah, let's do plugs, everybody.
Okay, I'll start.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at Katie Rose or on Instagram at Oh Hello Katie Rose. Please listen to my other podcast that I do with our regular writer and co-host Jeremy Hammond. It's about anime. I'm sorry. It's called
not sorry.
Ballin' Out
Super.
Thank you for your moral support.
Yeah.
Drewby?
Drewby. Oh, hey, what's up, guys? This is Drewby. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at diet_Drewby. You can also follow my photography account, Drewby Kaufman Photography. Also, a really cool thing you can check out is, so Steve Brodsky, me, and our camera dude, Rob, we made a whole bunch of pedal demos for Abominable Electronics. They're really fun and weird. I'm finishing up the last two this week, and so you can watch all those. If you play guitar, maybe you'll buy something. If you like Steve being goofy, there's plenty of that. Steve is the best. I love him. So check that out, and spend money at Abominable Electronics if you're one of those nerds. I've heard that guitar pedals are basically like adult Pokemon cards, and you guys trade them and all that shit.
It is. You're right.
Yeah. I play drums. I don't know shit. You get it.
I got it. I don't understand it. I hate pedals. I hate pedal shopping. I hate talking about pedals.
Follow Santos at I Hate Pedals on Instagram. You can talk to him about not talking to him about pedals.
All pictures of pedals I hate. Hate this one. Hate that one. I hate that one. That one really sucks. Yeah.
I'd follow
This
that
one looks
account.
stupid. Kat, you want to plug?
Sure. You can follow me on Twitter at Cat Jones Soda, or on Instagram, Cat Jones with 3 O's.
Cat Jones. I'm gonna do it every time.
I like it.
Hell
Follow me around and do that randomly.
I'm such
This is
a
Cat
good.
Jones.
I'm a really good entourage member, okay? I'm like really supportive. I'm loud, and I got that pushy Long Island, may I talk to your manager
I love it.
energy that gets shit
And then
done.
immediately afterwards, you can be like, it's about anime.
I'm sorry.
Santos, you want to plug stuff? What's going on,
Sure.
man?
You can follow all the Old Man Gloom social medias. Those are the only ones I have. And we're going to Seattle with lovely Steve Brodsky tomorrow to record a new record. So at some point in 2021, 22, you'll have a new Old Man Gloom record. So yeah, really
All right.
dig into that.
You guys are also you doing some tour business this summer?
We're doing a couple shows. We're doing Psycho, and we're doing a Denver show. We've never played in Denver. It's kind of legal weed.
Legalized
round.
weed.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
doing Seattle. Well, we're recording in Seattle, legal weed. We're doing Vegas, legal weed. And then we're doing Denver, legal weed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Here's a Seattle joke. It's a long way back from Belltown.
Okay,
My
Jordan.
Seattle folks will get that.
Was
Jordan,
that a
any
Danzig
plugs?
slash?
I basically lived in Seattle for a while, and I don't even get that.
Belltown. Belltown's
No, I
in
know.
Seattle.
It's like a neighborhood in Seattle, but what's the joke?
It's a long way back from hell by
Oh.
Danzig.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
My Danzig pun joke is every time I start listening to Long Way Back from Hell, like the first line to me, I don't know, I always hear it this way. I always hear, went to a Taco Bell in New Orleans, got myself a Baja Blast.
Oh, boy.
You can follow me at Mr. Jordan Olds on Twitter. Follow my dog on Instagram at Great Hambino. Please donate to our Patreon, honorableswords.com.
Honorable Swords.
Honorableswords.com. Yeah, we're gonna be we're also gonna go to Psycho Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. We're closing it out. So that'll either be really fun or really weird.
Yeah. It'll be both.
It'll be 100% both.
It's gonna be both.
honest.
Yeah.
So are you going to do a show, like the St. Vitus show, just at
Yep.
Psycho? Oh,
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Follow 2 Minutes to Late Night on Twitter at 2M2LN and on Instagram at 2 Minutes to Late Night. It'd be weird if it wasn't that. If it had any other name. All right. I don't know. Sadistical sucked. Bye.
Hail Satan.
Bye.
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 Bye.